one player, two player, put controller in, and they turn the power button on and say, power on!
Also, why the fuck do you have Crohn's disease just bookmarked right next to a Ratatouille game?
So it won't show on the recording, but there are bookmarks, and one of them is Crohn's. So it's Crohn's disease nonprofit.
Okay.
If ever there were going to be a moment that we ever did a stream to raise money for something, it would be for the Crohn's disease nonprofit.
Why did you just have that bookmarked though?
Because I have the charity bookmark, the charity, the particular charity in specifics, like the specific charity in particular. I have it bookmarked so that I can find it very quickly. Now there is Cute Kirby that does exist. That is a if you've been watching the Breath of the Wild playthrough, those Kirby things, like the little ball characters that exist for the thumbnails, Kyle, throw them up right now. That is a person named Cute Kirby, who doesn't post anymore on DeviantArt, very sadly. He would make custom Kirbys of other characters as though Kirby had swallowed them and become that character, really shittily in MS Paint. And he went so heavily into this that he created a persona named Jason. I don't know if this is his actual name, but no, Sam, my bad. I don't know if his real name is Sam, but he created a persona about how he made. It's a fucking highly recommend going to this DeviantArt page and just diving headfirst in, because it is a wild ride. Anyway, the movie in particular that I think would benefit greatly from being filmed as a movie from like different angles, but like at the set pieces for it would be put in place like a Broadway show. Like, let's say for example you're transitioning from one scene to the next. So when you transition from the next scene, you see the actual pieces, the set pieces move, and the new set pieces come in to like set the scene, and like lights would go out and then come back on. Like it'd be an actual Broadway show, but you would have the added benefit of different camera angles and shit. The perfect movie for this is Tommy Wiseau's The Room. I firmly believe you could get Broadway actors to come in and do that movie scene for scene, take it the most serious they've ever taken it, and then do the set pieces and everything, and that movie would be beautiful. I'd love it. I think it'd be a great movie.
Good time.
Because I know there was a movie made about The Room with James Franco and Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen. Well, I mean, he plays like a very minor character. It's James and Dave Franco.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It was just called The Disaster Artist.
I could have swore Seth was one of the directors.
Yeah, well, he's in the movie. He just doesn't. He has a minor part though in it.
Mm.
He plays He plays like the guy operating the camera.
I just know that that I never got to see it, and I wanted to really bad. But it wasn't in theaters for very long.
It was not.
I heard nothing but good things from it, which is why it weirded me out that it was only in theaters for 3 weeks and then it was gone. They did the same thing with The Interview. The Interview was by far a really good movie. That shit made me laugh so fucking hard. Loved that movie.
It was pretty good.
The only scene that was a little questionable was the butthole scene. That was a bit much.
It's like, Seth Rogen, you've done it again.
I should point out, it wasn't the scene itself, it was how much James Franco's character was way too into it for too long. Like, the amount he was into it was funny, but, like, that scene really, like, lasted for a bit, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right, the dog fucking gets me. Damn. That's irritating. I think Cats, the Broadway musical, could be a movie. I think it could. And it would have to be that scrapped animated idea that they almost did.
Yeah.
If they did that, if they had doubled down and done that, it would have been a much better film.
Well, that's the thing. I think musicals, like, if you're gonna adapt them to film, I think doing them animated is probably like the best route to go.
I think there are a few exceptions, but yeah, I agree with you.
You can do a lot more with, well, because the problem is, like, what can you get with, like, a big budget, like, live action movie that, like, you can't really, you can get that at, like, the play itself to some extent.
Well, what I was gonna say is that one of the exceptions is West Side Story. I feel like that can be done live action. I prefer the original over the remake, personally.
I haven't seen either.
The original's really good. I highly recommend it. The remake's alright. It's fine. Like, it's not a bad movie at all. It's just a remake that, in my opinion, was squandered. Because in my opinion, I have a rule. Once you've done a remake, good or bad, you have to wait 20 years before you can do it again. Time has to pass between a remake and the original before you can justify remaking it.
Mm-hmm.
Because enough time needs to have passed for things to have improved enough to be like, oh, I'd like to get a second shot at this movie. Like, take, for example, Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. Like, the main reason he went back and redid Evil Dead, the remake, is because things had improved and he had learned a lot.
Evil Dead didn't have a remake.
Yeah, it did.
No, it didn't. It had the one from 2013, which was done by a different director, and it's a completely different movie. It just shares it doesn't even share a title, because the original is called The Evil Dead.
The Evil Dead 2013. I gotta look up director because it's not telling me.
That wasn't that's the same guy who did Alien Romulus, whatever the new alien was.
Oh yeah, Fede Alvarez.
Yeah, no, Evil Dead, it's a common misconception from what I understand, but yeah, no, Evil Dead 2013 is not a remake of The Evil Dead. That's its own movie. It's like it's almost like a reimagining of the first one. It's because it's done through completely different characters, but like there's some similarities.
Oh, it was attempted to be a reboot.
There's some homage shots to some of the stuff from the original The Evil Dead, but overall it's its own thing.
I'm reading a Reddit post, so. The director, this is the only part I'm going to read of it. I'm not going to read this whole fucking thing.
You should.
The director of 2013 Evil Dead said it's a reboot that's a sequel to the first movie, which the director had to shout out to a fan just to settle these rumors when people were saying it was a remake. So you have to think that the 2013 movie is actually the second movie that continues from where it left off from, which is, of course, the first movie, which explains why Ash's car is still there in the 2013 version.
It's a
what?
Look, Evil Dead's most consistent trait is that its continuity is fucking insane and all over the place. It doesn't really have one, which I can kind of commend to some extent. Some of it's weird continuity errors is done via like limitations with the studios kind of fucking them over. Like they didn't have the rights to the footage from The Evil Dead when they were making Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, no.
So they had to basically they had to film like a whole new recap. So it's like instead of like 6 people, it's just Ash and Linda because they didn't want to waste all of Evil Dead 2's budget on filming a recap of the last movie. So like, it's just get Linda. It's fine. It's also a different actress, I think.
Sometimes you can go back and redo a movie, and I think the minimum should be 10 years if things have improved in like CGI and stuff like that, or 20 years max, like minimum for pretty much everything else. My exception to this is let's take Aladdin for example, right? Because since we're at the part where we talked about it to begin with. The Aladdin remake I don't think should have happened because unless you were going to get all of the original cast to come back and do it, there's literally no reason to do it. Not with a movie like that. The movie itself, the main like staying power of that movie was the cast. And Robin Williams having passed away, that movie should have just been fucking left alone for like another 20, 30 years. And if it did get remade, it should have been done animated.
Well, but then like what's the point? Unless you're gonna do like a completely different take on the story of Aladdin, then sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the thing. I don't really like remakes, frankly. I know there was some good stuff that came out of remakes of movies. But overall, I'm like, I'd rather see like a new take on a story.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna do it, at least do something different, or like.
I don't
know. Remake a bad movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Remake
Battlefield Earth. Like.
No, we can leave that one. We're good.
We can try it again.